so on my way to meet Ed, who was a professional drag car racer back in the 80s. And he's got a warehouse filled with a bunch of cars with him and his son. So let's go meet him and find out a little bit about his history and his car collection. So I'm here with Ed. Ed, what's up, man?
How you doing?
So tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name's Ed Medina. Grew up, born, raised in Miami. Loved cars all my life.
What got you into cars specifically?
I'd say, actually, my older brother was into cars, into fast cars at the time. When I was 15, I got my hands on a 67 Mustang fastback. Had no engine in it, no tranny. Started working on it, found an engine, redid it, put the engine, transmission in, did the rear end, went through the whole car, had it all ready, changed the fender and the door, had the interior done, and it was ready for paint, and the car got stolen.
Oh, man.
And it was before I even turned 16. I only had my learner's permit. I didn't even have my driver's license. And from that, it evolved. I traded an ATC. I had a 185S ATC. I traded it for a 69 Roadrunner. Again, right before my 16th birthday, got the Roadrunner, got it home, changed the wheels, put big tires in the back, L60s at the time, 70s in the front, some ET mags, American Racing ET mags on the car, stylish back then. From that it evolved, you know, and just wanted to go faster and faster. Then I went back to Fords and started racing, you know. You do the illegal stuff on the street, racing on the street, and you beat people, and then you move up to faster people and you want to be faster than them, and it's like a drug. And from that it evolved, and you start going to the track and you see how fast your car is, and then you want to go faster, and then you want to go faster, and then you want to go faster, and I kept going and going and going. And you know, probably 10 years later, got a full race car running in the 7s. That's in the quarter mile, 170 something miles an hour. And then I built a second car for a specific class to race and things like that. And you know, I still did a little street racing on the side, you know, the illegal stuff, which I don't recommend anybody doing now.
Right, exactly.
But it was fun, and I made a lot of money, actually.
How did you learn about the mechanics? How did you learn about fixing cars, building an engine?
Mechanics came naturally to me. I think I got it from my grandfather. My grandfather, on my father's side, was very, very mechanically inclined. He loved to tinker and take things apart and put them back together. My father was clueless. I'll tell you, one time I was working on a car in front of my house, and I had the heads off the engine. And my dad came home and asked me, "What are you doing?" And I didn't want to explain to him what I was doing because he would have flipped out. And I said, "Oh, I'm just adjusting the valves." And he looked at me and shook his head and walked away. He had no idea what I was talking about. But I just learned doing it and trial and error. And eventually you realize, well, I do this, it makes it a little better. Massage it here, tune it here. One thing I used to tell people all the time, listen, this person can buy the exact same parts this person does, and this person can go a whole second faster than that one because this person knows how to turn the wrenches the right way.
I feel like you think that that's an art that's been lost in today's era?
The youth today is a lot different. If they can't put, you know, an ODB scan into the computer, plug it in, and the computer tell them what's wrong, it's, you know, they have a hard time diagnosing or analyzing a situation, especially on stock vehicles.
Tell me about the car that got stolen, man. What happened?
Oh, man, it was my first car. It was a 67 fastback Mustang. That's how I got into Mustangs and Fords. I've always been a Ford and Mopar type of guy. And it was a beautiful car. It was a 67 fastback. It was a factory V8 289 car, automatic, and worked all summer long. I think I worked 4 or 5 months on that car. No, longer than that, because it got stolen in January. So might have been 6 months that I worked on that car, getting it ready, you know, so I could turn 16 and start driving to school and driving around in it. and everything. Engine, tranny, everything was on it. And it was heartbreaking. I came out one morning and the car was parked in front of my house. It was just gone. Never saw, never heard of. To this day, I'm hoping that one day I get a phone call saying, hey, we found the car that was titled under you at one time, and the car is completely restored, $100,000 car. And I say, yes, that's my car.
Well, hopefully somebody sees this on YouTube, and so if they find your car, call Ed Medina.
And I get it back, but yeah. I doubt that's going to happen. I never saw not a single part, anything off that car. Probably got sent overseas somewhere.
How did you get into drag racing? I'm sorry.
You get into race. You always start, you know, as a kid, young, 16 years old, street racing. You know, we would go to different places at the time. Here in Miami-Dade, we would go to Okeechobee or Mastersfield, or actually right here where these lakes are. We used to call this Hidden Lake. And before any of this was ever built, there was a couple of straight roads and we would race out here. Who's the big guy on the block that day? And, you know, you got a couple of, you know, 40, 50 bucks, 100 bucks. Eventually it got big. We were racing for thousands of dollars.
So that led you into drag racing?
And that led me, and got me to the track. And then you get to the track, and on the track back then, Miami Hollywood used to be right here on Pembroke Pines Road. And we would go there every Thursday. And it was test and tune night, so everybody could go. On Saturdays, they would hold their races. You just go and you time your car, and you know, you get out there and you think your car is fast, and all of a sudden you go down the track and you think it's fast, and you're going 14 seconds. And I guess at one point that was fast, and you just want to go faster, and you make it half a second faster, and then you start going from there. And what can I do to go faster? And you know, is it exhaust? Is it intake? Is it heads? Is it cam? And you start going faster and faster. And like I said, it's like a drug. And the more you do it, the more you want to go faster. And you want to get that time slip that says, hey, you improved this much. You picked up, you know, your ET went down and your mile an hour went up. And then you start racing on Saturday nights competitively against other people. Racing is my drug. It's what I want to do. When you get out of that car at the end of that track, you know, your adrenaline is flowing, and it's like, this is it, you know. And it's amazing, and it always is. And when I talk about it, even my wife to this day tells me, when you talk about racing, you sound so passionate about it. I wish you talked about me like that.
Right. So you would spend, what, like all week tinkering on the car to get it faster for Saturday nights, or how did that work?
We street raced on Fridays and Saturday nights mostly. There was a hierarchy on the street. There was this group, and then there was a group that was a little faster than them. And then there was a group that was faster than those guys, and you wanted to climb that ladder of success and be with the faster guys. And, you know, you start hanging out with all these guys.
Learning tricks and stuff.
And you learn things. Yeah, you learn different things. A lot of suspension things, a lot of different cars react different ways. Like GM cars reacted one way, Ford cars reacted a different way. Mopars completely different on the suspension. And you start learning these things, and you just elevate your knowledge. And you know, sometimes I have a good friend of mine, Robert Hernandez, who says I'm full of shit all the time. And
Who's that guy?
I'm full of, you know, useless information. But it's just the way I work personally in my brain. I store this stuff.
So tell me, what kind of cars did you have for drag racing? Because I saw a couple different cars in your clips.
On the track, I'd say I had a Roadrunner. I had a 69 Roadrunner, not the one that I actually first bought. I had another one eventually, which was a low 11, 10-second car that I raced on Saturday night bracket racing. And then I evolved it into my Mustang. It was an 83 5.0 that eventually became a full-blown race car with a 89, 90 look on it. And then I campaigned that car in NHRA and I raced in the Super Comp class, which was an 890 index, which means you had to run 890. You couldn't run faster. The car did run a lot faster, but you know, you put throttle stops and things like that to maintain it, and you had to run the closest to 890 without going faster. I campaigned that car for several years in NHRA, and then I went into the blue. That was a blue 92 Mustang that actually I got from Ford. Friend of mine, Bob and Willie, we got into this thing. We were racing my car, and Ford actually approached us about building a car. And Ford said, well, we'll give you a car. And I had a connection with Stormin Norman, who used to race the 5.0 shootouts at the time. And he knew someone at Ford, and they said, we'll give you a car. I said, give me? I said, what's the catch? He said, nothing. We'll give you a car. You can't sell it. And you just pay for the shipping. They dropped it on a train. I had to go pick it up in West Palm Beach with my truck and trailer. And the car got there. It was a 92 GT Mustang, brand new. It looked like a test car. They had pulled all the interior, the motor, and the transmission out. The door panels and the dash was still there. The differential was still on the car, and they had taken the VIN off the car. So I wouldn't be able to sell the car. And they gave me a bill of sale, you know, for the transportation, whatever that was. And we took that car in 2 months. We built that car specifically for, at the time it was called the 5.0 shootouts. Today it's called NHRA, which is very famous. And they run these Mustangs all over the country now. And at the time, there was only 2 cars that had run in the 8 seconds in the 5.0, the Pro 5.0 class. A gentleman named Steve Griebeck, who had a white Mustang, and Gene Deputy had a Mustang, turbocharged Mustang. That ran in the high 8s as well. At the time, they are the only 2. The rest of the field was running mid-9s. So we built this car. It had specific rules. We read the rule book. We followed that rule book to the T. And we showed up with this car. The first shakedown pass, it ran a 950. The second pass, we put a 901 on the board, and then we put an 890 on the board.
Wow.
And everybody freaked out. And we went to Gainesville, which was the first meet of the year for this particular type of racing. And there was a lot of people complaining that no way, these guys just took a car off the trailer, first time out here, they're that fast. They had inspectors out there, and they actually had some engineers from Ford inspecting the car, measuring things and location of the motor. And they spent about 40 minutes going over the car, and they gave up.
So it was all legit?
It was all perfect. It was actually, one of the Ford guys said, the engine's in a better place than a regular Mustang I would pull off the parking lot right now. And again, we went to put on another 890, and we won that event. And I remember Steve Griebeck had these stickers that he had made for the Pro 50 8-second club. And only him and Gene Deputy had the stickers on his car, and he came over and gave us the sticker, and we put it on the car. And we were the only 3 cars in the nation that had that, that were part of that club. And then after that point, we would get paid, and they would give us gas money to show up at these, travel money and expense to show up at these events, because we drew the crowd. Shootout at sundown. This was in Vegas. That's our car right there. And then that evolved into, there was the Pro 50 shootout, or the Mustang shootouts, and then they had these things that were Grand Nationals against Mustangs. And they had a couple of guys that had really fast Grand Nationals. I mean, we're talking race car Grand Nationals.
Right.
And these things made a lot of power with 6 cylinders and were extremely fast. but the technology at the time wasn't there for them.
Right.
It's not all about all the power and the speed you go. It's about leaving that line and launching. And that's about 50% of the race is won right there. And they couldn't launch. They couldn't build boosts to launch in time. Nowadays they do. They bump in, they build boosts before they bump into the lights. And the technology is there now. Turbocharging today is the best thing to do. It's incredible. You don't have to build an engine with 2,000 horsepower. You just build an engine with 800-900 horses and add a couple of turbos. And I'll show you one up here later in a little bit. And, you know, you want to go faster, you just turn the boost up, crank it up, and you go faster. We went to Englishtown, we went to Vegas. Vegas was a big shootout event between Kenny Duttweiler was one of the fastest guys with Grand Nationals. I mean, he had a 7-second Grand National, but he couldn't beat us because they couldn't launch in time fast enough. Yeah, at the end of the track, we crossed the finish line. He'd fly by us like we were sitting still, but it was too late.
Right.
You know, he couldn't get there in time.
So what was the fastest you've ever gone?
The fastest I've gone personally, I believe, was 770 at 177 miles an hour in a quarter mile. And that was in my red Mustang. That was a naturally aspirated. It was a big block car. That's the one I campaigned in NHRA that I ran Super Comp with. So we slowed it down about a second and a tenth to run the Super Comp class.
So there's one video that I see that you just fly off the line, you lift up.
That's just the way it launched. You know, it's all about traction and leaving that line. It's a different thing being able to lift the tires straight up and come down with no power, and it is lift the tires going forward,
right,
and traveling forward. And that was a small block. The rules had to be a 302 block. Couldn't use a 351 or bigger motor. Had to be a 302 block. So essentially we had some connections. We had some good blocks. We actually bought them from Jack Roush. They were Trans Am blocks that they used for their Trans Am cars that were used and they couldn't use anymore. But they were perfect for us. And we had, you know, we knew Jack Roush. We knew some people there and we got a connection. He would sell us blocks really economic. We bought like 4 of them. Wow. And we had like 3 spare engines.
How long did you do this drag racing for?
Started when I was 15, you know, street racing out in the back roads.
What year?
1981.
Wow.
1980, 81. And I probably did it till I was 30 years old.
Oh, wow.
And then at that time, life took over.
We all know that.
Life took over. I actually, unfortunately, was divorced from my first wife. I had 3 boys, which I had custody of. And traveling, racing, traveling around the country, it just didn't fit in, and I had to make a tough decision.
That brings me to, obviously, you made a huge impact on your children because this warehouse is a little bit of a shared complex here, correct?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. They love cars. Not all of them do. I have 5 kids. I have 4 boys and a girl. 2 of my boys love cars. One just loves to be around them and every now and then show up at a car show. And my second oldest, John, has a passion for the classics and for, you know, the lines of the cars and stuff like that. None of them ever developed the love for the mechanics and for the racing. My older one every now and then goes, hey, let's go racing. But he doesn't get it. He doesn't understand that he never has done it. Funny thing is, a couple of years ago, I was changing the battery in my wife's car, her everyday driver. And my daughter comes on, she goes, Dad, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm changing the battery in the car. And she goes, oh, that thing on the floor? I said, yeah. And she goes, oh, that goes right there. She goes, and you got to remove that and unscrew that. And I looked at her and I realized, oh my God, she's the one that has the gift. She's the one that gets the, you know, and I go, you want to help Dad? And she goes, no, I don't want to get dirty. So there went that. And hopefully one of my grandchildren, one of my grandkids has it, and I can, you know, at least pass on some of the knowledge to them. We'll see.
And talk to me about this warehouse in the shared space.
So I got into the classic cars. I went back to my roots. I got a Mustang. So I have a 65 convertible Mustang. All pretty much original. It's a little modified here and there. It's a 289. It's built like the 289 Hypo was built in 1965 and 66. It's got the solid lifter Hypo cam in it, the flat top pistons. It's a decent motor. It probably makes about 315 horses. It's behind a 4-speed transmission, nothing out of this world. Factory Ford 4-speed. It's got 3.0 gears in the back. It's just a driver.
Where did you find this car?
Gentleman in Iowa that had it. He had purchased it from the person that had redone the car maybe 15 years ago. And he was selling it. We negotiated. I had an inspection company go out, look at the car over, check it out. Actually, when I got the car, that it arrived, I remember it got here on Friday morning. The guy starts it up, backs it up out of the trailer. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. Sounds better than the video, because all I had seen was video. And the inspector gave me a good report.
Right.
When I start looking at the car over, my wife walks out and she's like, are you going to be out here in your robe? And I said, yeah. I'm looking at the car. The car was actually better than what I expected. A lot better than I expected. And went over the whole car, and that night took it for a little drive. And then the next day I went to my first cruise in with my son. The car has a look to it, and it's a tribute to the 1966 Hertz Mustang that Hertz had commissioned Shelby and Ford to do for them. They built 1,000 of them. The original ones in '65 were all black and gold. So this car has the black and gold look to it.
Nice.
Which is the Hertz black and gold look.
And what about the rims that you have? They're kind of unique.
The rims are Krager Eliminator 500s. They don't make them anymore. And they were at the time a copy, but not a real copy, but like a look-alike to the Ford Shelby rim. A little bit stylish, was a little bit different. And they're painted gold to match the coloring. They're very unique.
It sounds really nice. What kind of cam does it have?
It's just the factory Ford 289 Hypo cam, solid lifter. So my son, he said, oh, I want to get a classic car too. And he went online and started looking. He got the Chevelle up there first, the convertible 64. And all of a sudden we got 4 cars. My wife is complaining because my car takes up all the space in the garage. And so my son says, let's get a warehouse.
It's been a little updated from when I first saw it.
Yeah, it was a very bare, it still is. It's nowhere near, actually, you know, COVID, 2 years of COVID came in and things got sidetracked. We actually planned to make this like a hangout place, finish the floor, decorate the walls, hang up signs, car, you know, memorabilia. And
what I'd love to do is give me a little walk around and explain a couple of cars you have here in the warehouse, and then maybe, depending on our weather today, take a quick spin.
Sure.
So thanks, Ed. Show me some of the things you got here.
Absolutely. Over here on the left, this is a 1962 door, Cadillac Series 62.
Nice.
Over here in the middle, bottom, we have a 62, Series 62. This is a 4-door Cadillac. We use this one a lot. And then up here is a 64 Chevelle convertible. Now this one's been modified highly. It has an LS3 twin turbo, making about 1,000 horses.
Wow. What do we got over here?
And then down here, this is all original, not restored. This is a Survivor 62 Pontiac Tempest Le Mans. Very unique car. It's not very expensive, but it's very rare. It has a 4-cylinder Pontiac engine. There was actually a V8 389 Pontiac motor cut in half. It has no transmission. It has what they call a rope drive. If you look at the floorboard, it's flat inside. There's no tranny tunnel. And it has a rope drive to the rear, and it has a transaxle 2-speed transaxle. And this was Pontiac's version of the Corvair. To reply, it's got independent rear suspension, and this car has an original 39,000 miles on it.
Wow.
This is all original interior, original paint, original everything on this car. It's an award-winning AACA HPOF class car.
Nice.
So is the Cadillac. The Cadillac is also an AACA award-winning car. Up above, we have a 73 Volkswagen Beetle. We just acquired this one about a year ago. We're working on it to get it all restored and done. To take out, there's a big Volkswagen group here in South Florida. So we want to be able to hang with them as well.
So hopefully you guys enjoyed Ed's story and a tour of the warehouse. If you did, hit the subscribe button. Till next time, and thanks for the support.
Try to block out the sun. Those are dialing categories. We're looking for dialings. We found our camera. That camera has to go to the tower. Brought to you by Horsepower Sales. They got a tent down there. And Mullenix Ford. Yankee Peddlers down there. Actual stuff you need for your car, switches, connectors, and everything. So most of the races here on Saturday night are on Ford Combo. They'll tell you most of the electrical equipment on their car. Contest entries. We got a bunch, but we're looking for more. Spectators, you know, you can enter too. Go out here. For years to come, you'll be... $25 for the fastest nitrous powered and $25 for the fastest non-nitrous powered. But at the end of the day, pick up your $25. The fastest is all yours. See what it's all about. Go on out and get it. It's only $2 extra just to make time runs. $12 more, you can be in the 5.0 Mustang Shootout. The 5.0 Mustang Shootout, you must have exhaust and street tires. Those are the rules. The bracket category with diamonds. $12 more, you can enter the sportsman category also. Mind you, there's $200 on the line to win.
Super Pro Pro, the Quick 4 combo, and setting on the starting line right now, if you followed NHRA drag racing in the 70s, this is a 1973 Pinot, Bob Glidden's world champion car in 1973 and in 1975. Bruce Weiss has worked with Bob Glidden, made everything back to detail exactly the way the car won the 1975 World Finals. It's got a 377-inch engine in the car. Were around, they weren't the hottest transmission. It has a Doug Nash clutchless 5-speed. The clutch comes out one time on the starting line. The rest of the gears are simply shifted by hitting the handle with your hand. Do not have to push the clutch in. The car runs a time appropriate to 1975. This first pass, you may not see a full pass. He's doing some testing on the car today. It is Bob Glidden's 1975 World Champion Helicopter. First pass, only testing the car, 9.71.
Is your presidential wave?
National Dragster, you are excused.
No.
We are very...
Oh, that's elbow. That's right. She told me the official way to wave.
The official parade wave.
Official parade wave. I had to...
4-star sportsman category.
Down the course side of the racetrack, 821, 163 miles per hour.
These guys, well, it's not. These guys have full chassis in that car. Full chassis car on 969, 136 miles per hour. Mustang, car side of the racetrack, and yours do this. 957, 145 miles per hour. It is a small one.
Oh yeah, you got it. Mark it.